So liner cut printing is basically this type of relief printing where basically you carve something onto supposedly an MDF, or we have something called linoleum sheets. So you carve on either of these and you basically place a bunch of ink and then place a paper on it. Then you end up with a beautiful print like this. So this is an example of one of the prints we have taken. And Kamya here will explain what the materials are.
Okay, so like the basic materials, obviously we need like carving tools, and these are essentially wood carving tools. And the most popular ones in like lino cuts is like the V tools and like the U tool, and you use them to carve like the MDF or the lino cut. Then for the ink, we have the ink, we have turpentine, we have these rollers that we use like to put the ink on the lino cut. We have a lot of A4 size papers or anything depending on your size, and also ladle.
The ladle. So I have a personal vendetta against this thing because this is used to basically apply force on top of the paper so then the ink gets transferred from the lino sheets or the MDF sheets onto the paper. So, and this is not the most efficient tool. We could have used better tools like rollers, but it works for now.
So initially, like first obviously we choose what we want to do, and then we sketch it out. So for me, I wanted to do like a girl holding a cat. So I sketched it out. Oh yeah, I sketched this thing out, and then I used like because lino printing in the end is always gonna be like bold and solid colors. So I used like sketch pens, and I figured out how the lighting is gonna be, and then I did like another one where I imagined what my end may it should look like. And then I took a picture of this, inverted it, and then I sketched it out on the lino sheet. And then I started like carving after I sketched it. And also I sketched like there are a lot of lines that I did with like permanent marker. So even after I remove it with turpentine, it stays. So it's like easy for me to carve it out again.
And for me, paper didn't work as well because I wanted a much more easier process. So then I just used an iPad instead. So all of this is in the initial stages of Lino where you just plan everything out and start ideating. And once you've solidified on an idea, you go straight to drawing on the MDF or the Lino. So this is one of my lines where I had drawn it with permanent marker, as you can see. This is half carved out. And I had marked all the important values and places with permanent marker. And step by step, I would be carving it.
So for two, three colors, you like divide them into like separate layers. Okay. So in your brain, it should be like there is white, there is a mid-tone, and then there's shadows, and then there's black in case you want to do like three layers. And then you carve out the white, and then you put whatever the mid-tone is with the white, you put it on the ink, and that's the first layer. And then you carve out the second layer, which is gonna be like wherever you want the mid-tone color to be. So for me, right now, I did the first layer. So you can see like all this carved out. This is all gonna be like white. And then I've marked out where my second thing is gonna be. So all this black line over here is gonna be like the blue color, which is my shadow. So that I won't carve out. I'll carve out wherever the yellow is gonna go. And here I want all the yellows to be here exactly like my sketching. And then now after I'm done carving this out, I'll put my shadow, which is blue, and then I'll put it on the sheet, like which is already carved. It's like over there, and then that will be like three layers. And then again, I'll go again back. I'll carve out wherever I want my black, like my blue to stay, and then I'll put black ink on it, and then I'll carve it out. So again, it will be like so you have to go layer by layer, and from the lightest to the darkest. You can't go from dark to light.
And each of these prints, like each layer does take around 12 to 13 hours to dry, depending on how much ink you apply as well. And this is basically a much longer process. And because we're carving each layer out, you can't really go back. Like you're essentially carving each layer one by one. And because of that, in the end, you'll end up with only like the last layer. So it is usually suggested that you take a bunch of prints around 15 to 16, which some of us have took, and you like after that there's no going back. You cannot do more than 16 after that. So you just add layer on layer, and sometimes there are also alignment issues or even some other issues people have faced. And in case of that, you have 16 tries, basically. So we were provided basically three colors, which is cyan, magenta, and yellow, and we were also provided with black and white. So, or any color you need, we'd have to mix it together to get the preferred shade or hue, and that's basically how we get the color, right? Black. How do I explain this properly?
What do you want to explain?
Just explain. You explain MDF.
That
for them.
how bad it is?
No, just how hard, like how compared to linoleum.
Okay, so linoleum, it's like very rubber. It's so soft and so nice, and it's like very sweet. And then there's MDF, which is so hard to carve. And like I had my fingers were like burning for a whole day because I kept carving it, and I kept rubbing on the already carved area so much. And you can't like getting sharp lines on MDF is really difficult because you cannot use the small tools like these two tools, right? They are like small U, small V, which I use initially like for my liner cut. But for the MDF, it's like recommended to use like the big ones because it won't work otherwise. The cut has to be deep.
But MDF is a lot of times preferred by a lot of professionals because you do get to control like how much ink is being absorbed by the paper as well. And MDF, it's not like both are very good options, by the way. Linoleum has its own advantages and MDF has its own advantages. It just depends on personal preference at the end of the day. Okay, so here are some of our works that we have done so far into the course. This is, yeah. So this is an example of the layered color prints, what we're doing. So this is the first layer. So I had carved basically on these white parts out, and we had added yellow ink and basically got this design, right? And the second step of this was this. So I had carved more from it. You can still see the first layer here, the yellow layer around, and the pink layer is where I've added new ink and carved out all the yellow parts out. So this is the second layer. So this is how the process goes. You get one layer here and then the second layer here. And there is one more layer to be done, which I have not done yet, but it will be added soon.
And this is my first layer. I'm carving out like the second layer. So this is like my first layer. You can see like the white. So I just carved out the white, then I did the whole yellow. And then next, for my next cut, I'll carve out wherever I want the yellow and I'll put blue in it.
And one more thing is, this is how the MDF prints came out. We had to use an A3 sheet in this case because the MDF was A4 size. So this has also come out pretty well. Yeah.